Gracias por estar con nosotros en su programa Café con Leche, la voz de los latinos en América. Estamos transmitiendo desde Hermosa 1470 AM, 96.9 FM. Les habla Lilia Galindo. Tengo al doctor Goines, Jordan Goines del Lancaster School District. Welcome to our program. Bienvenido.
Good morning. Good morning. It's good to see everybody. Or good to be on the radio with. It's good to be on the radio with everybody.
Well, do you know, we are so happy to have you here. I'm suppose you have many good news for us.
We have a lot of good things that we're gonna that I wanted to bring up for today, and kind of going into the rest of our school year and where we're getting ready to finish off, because we're in that those moments that we're getting ready to close out the school year, get the last little pieces going, and we have testing coming up. A lot of big events coming in Lancaster.
Bueno, se están preparando ya para la terminación del año, y entonces van a tener muchísimas cosas importantes durante este periodo, sobre todo exámenes, así es que deben de estar listos, pues deben de escuchar este programa. Okay, let's go. Let's start.
Okay, so for the first thing that I wanted to talk about, I wanted to bring up arts and education. So let me get over here just a little bit more.
Thank you.
One of the things that we've got going on in Lancaster right now, we have been building up for the last probably like year, maybe 2 years, a program for our arts, for elementary schools, for middle schools, trying to build that particular piece up, make it as big as possible, make it as effective as possible, bring kids into the situation. So we've got a lot of good things happening with that.
Bueno, primero que nada, dice, durante los últimos 2 años hemos estado trabajando en algo muy importante, que son las artes y la educación. Queremos llevar a todos los niveles escolares este programa, porque es muy importante para el desarrollo de los niños, y artes es un programa muy efectivo para que ellos puedan avanzar.
What we know, especially with arts, is that it increases engagement with kids, bringing kids into the schools. It makes kids want to be at school, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, the issue that we run into on a consistent basis is kids. Same thing that we've always talked about on this station. We want to make sure that kids are coming to school. So arts is a way to be able to get kids to make sure that they're interested in school. And when we talk about arts, it's a broad, we talk about arts with a broad stroke. So it's not just drawing pictures and those kinds of pictures, just the visual arts, but it's also the performing arts. And that's something that we've really been harping on. So I'll let you translate that, and I got some other pieces on the bigger levels.
Dice, una de las maneras de fomentar la asistencia de los niños, que ya saben que ha sido siempre una constante del Distrito Escolar de Lancaster, es las artes. Y si no estamos hablando solamente de la pintura o algo así, sino estamos hablando de artes donde se puede actuar, o sea, ya sea cantar, teatro, etcétera, etcétera. Esta, sin duda alguna, es una manera muy importante de motivar a los niños, a los jóvenes, a que vengan a la escuela, que asistan a la escuela.
Absolutely. So a couple of things that have come in, just to kind of give some background. The state of California and the voters in the state of California, I believe last year, voted in something called Prop 28. So there's two major bills, or assembly bills, one for the state of California, and then one proposition that came down over the last year and a half or so. The first one, Prop 28, that allows us to be able to bring in people and supports for our students at the school level to be able to support arts education in totality. The other one, well, I'll let you translate that one because that's a big one.
Bueno, dice, han pasado a nivel estatal dos propuestas que son importantes para las escuelas. Una es la proposición 28, que dice que permite a las escuelas traer a personas que estén a expertos en artes y en educación. Ese es uno de los biles más importantes, que es la proposición 28 y que pasó.
So the purpose of Prop 28, like I said earlier, was all about trying to hire people on to be able to be a part of arts programming in school districts. To really, in California, we know that the arts industry is probably performing arts industry as a whole is like the biggest thing in the state of California. So because it's the biggest thing in the state of California and the biggest economy in the state of California, we know that we need to support that. And on top of that, we also know that our kids have a ability to express themselves that we generally never tap, because we're always focusing on math, science, social studies, language arts, and the four core pieces. Reading, writing, arithmetic, I would say, has been the core of education for forever. And in fact, we only get judged as a school district based on our social emotion, on our work with chronic absenteeism, suspensions, ELA and math. So on the academic side, it's just ELA and math by the federal government that we're held accountable for. When it turns into the other pieces, we really want to make sure that in order to get the kids to school, we want to integrate arts into that English language arts and math work that we're doing.
Bueno, dice, esta proposición 28 permite que podamos contratar personal para desarrollar a los estudiantes, para ayudarles a desarrollar sus áreas en artes y actuación. Dice, porque tenemos que considerar que Hollywood es una empresa muy importante que ha promovido mucho la economía de aquí de California, es una de las compañías más importantes o sectores más importantes, y por eso queremos traer esta oportunidad a los niños, porque además los estimula a que asistan a la escuela y se resuelve el problema de la asistencia, pero sobre todo, pues siempre nos hemos concentrado siempre en matemáticas, en ciencia, tecnología, y ahora pues es también el tiempo de echarle un ojo a Hollywood. Do you know this is a really good thing, because Hollywood is so close to here. They usually come to make movies here, and that not only the aerospace industry, but this one is another important area that should be.
Well, and I think in California, especially in the Antelope Valley as a whole, it's like STEAM is a big deal, or STEM is a big deal already in terms of education with math. Science, technology, engineering, and math is a big deal, along with throwing in the arts, generally speaking, for different areas. But then the other piece of it is really enhancing that arts education piece, because not all kids are going to be math geniuses. Me being one of them, like I can do basic math. I'm not the one who really loves to sit down and I'm not gonna have fun doing a math equation. It just ain't me, right? It's like I would like to sit there and write, and I not to say that I'm not a poet or anything like that. I'm a historian by trade, but I like the arts part of it. That's what gets me going. That's what put me into school. That's what kept me in school. Me personally, I'm a musician. I like music. I love music. I can listen to music all day long. Music makes me feel good. Schools that I've worked at, I've attempted to I brought in elementary music programs. Our district as a whole, because of some of this work with this piece Prop 28, we were able to bring in. We brought in music teachers under the use of Title IV, the federal government's Title IV, and the state's Prop 28. The other piece to this, in terms of legislation that's brought in based, and I'm setting a stage here, so is AB 181 or Assembly Bill 181 and 185. Both of these were all about getting arts materials into the hands of kids, and being able to help kids and being able to get the pieces that they need to, the instruments that they need to get into place, the services that they need to get into place, the contractors that they need to get into place to be able to support them. We in Lancaster are starting to actually look for, in terms of contractors, are looking for people who can support the arts, who may or may not have a teaching credential, to be able to bring them in to be teaching artists for our kids, and be like artists on like special assignment at our school sites to help people who are actual artists who may not have a teaching credential, and helping them to be able to show their love. We'll pay them for it too, obviously, but be able to give them the opportunity, give them the opportunity to get in front of kids and show them how wonderful arts can be for kids.
So traditionally, traditionally arts and music has been for very rich kids.
Absolutely.
The poor people never had a chance before to have that kind of education that is so important. So those are really good news. Bueno, estamos hablando como muchos de la educación ya está enfocada a lo que es la ciencia, la tecnología, la ingeniería, artes y matemáticas, pero en esta ocasión, combinando lo que es el título 4 y esta proposición 28, y además otros proyectos en la asamblea, que son el 81 y el 85, donde se autoriza a que se puedan contratar maestros para dar clases de arte a los niños. Esto es algo muy importante, porque generalmente los niños pobres nunca tienen acceso a este tipo de educación. Así es que estamos hablando cómo se desarrollan dos áreas en el Valle del Antílope que son muy importantes: la que atiende a las industrias aeroespaciales y la que atiende a la industria de Hollywood, porque Hollywood viene a hacer acá muchas películas. But do you know, music is so good, makes you
Hmm.
feel so good.
Well, I think that like your sister is the one who created the song who opens this up, right?
Correct.
So like for me particularly, my daughter's a singer, loves to
Oh,
sing, sings at
that's.
church. I play bass at church. I played bass in I remember Louisiana Hots out here when
Mm-hmm.
I was in high school. I used to play that place.
Oh, very good.
So I used to have some like I've been able to have some. That's the thing that kind of makes that's the thing that warms the soul. So they say in education, math and science may enrich the brain, but the music and the arts, that's what enriches the soul.
Oh, qué bonito.
So how's Lancaster responding to these pieces? So there's two pieces that I'm gonna talk to in terms of arts. That A, how is Lancaster responding, and B, the second piece is gonna be what can parents do to be able to support this work as we move forward in Lancaster School District, and if you're in Palmdale, Keppel, Wilsona, whatever district you happen to be in, how you can move this piece forward in your schools. Um, so first of, not that I'm speaking for any other districts. I'm not that
Well,
guy,
just ideas.
but it's just ideas for parents. The first piece. So for Lancaster, the way we're responding with this is that we've started a significant amount, putting a significant amount of our work into training our teachers. So there's just this Saturday, we have 600, just to give perspective, there's 660 teachers in Lancaster School District. It's
660.
about 660 teachers ish. Um, Let me take that back. That's not true. It's about 570 something. I apologize for that. I
Oh,
was I
no.
was thinking about with parents, some of our pairs and that kind of thing. But of the 540 some odd or 70 teachers that we have in our district, of those 570 some odd teachers, we had 101 teachers sign up for an arts training on a Saturday, everybody, on a Saturday, of which we focused on four main areas of art. All of it having to do with social emotional learning. So the whole idea was SEL through the arts. We've contracted with a wonderful contractor, Luna Arts, who's actually comes to us and comes out in person to support our teachers to be able to help that out. So with that, the focus of that was all about integrating arts into the educational day for kids. So how can you use portrait to be able to support a math lesson, or
Oh, all right.
how can you use well, this was great because I know this person who was teaching this course was actually a sub used to sub for me when I was a teacher at Parkview Middle School like 15, 16 years ago. um, but she taught a course on how to use sock puppets to be able to perform, to be able to integrate that into social emotional lessons, and how she used that for social emotional learning in her classroom that she's teaching in Temecula, California right now. Another person brought in the whole idea of how to use watercolors, and then how you might be able to use that in some like ancient history work. So like I used to use when I was a teacher, I used to use you would teach your kids ancient history. Part of it was ancient China, so you would work through like some of the characters, and you would teach them how to do the brush strokes to actually create the characters and those kinds of pieces. Those kinds of pieces when you're teaching that cultural piece. So we had that going on. On top of that, we had another piece about poetry, not poetry. It was journaling through arts to be able to help with other areas. So you might throw up a quote to the board says like, I think the biggest one is like, uh, planned a failure to plan is a plan to fail, right? Something like that. So how would you make that a quote unquote non-linguistic representation? In layman's terms, a
With my
picture.
face, I know.
Yeah. How do you make it a picture, or how do you put it in place of a physical a journal where you actually act out the quote to some degree to be able to. So the thing is, what we're getting at here is that aren't gonna kids don't need to write things down or even be able. I mean, we want them to read, but to be able to read, they need that for sure, but they don't need that in totality for critical thinking all the time. So we can show them how to show their knowledge without making them do some of the pieces that we traditionally do. And that's what we're trying to focus on.
Okay, let me see if I can
That's a
translate all
lot.
that.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
but it's so good and so important. Fíjense, estas legislaciones que están ocurriendo en el estado de California les han permitido contratar maestros que incluso no tienen licencia de maestro, pero que van a dar clases de arte y de música y cómo se integra además con el propósito es integrar el arte y la música para integrarlo con matemáticas, ciencias, tecnología de tal manera que se convierta en algo muy agradable, dice, porque sin duda alguna las matemáticas y la ciencia te ayudan con tu cerebro, pero la música y el arte con tu espíritu, y es importante. Y los jóvenes y los niños se ven mucho más atraídos a ir a una clase donde van a tener otro tipo de actividades que les hacen sentir mejor. Se está entrenando aproximadamente tienen en el distrito escolar de Lancaster aproximadamente 570 maestros, y de ellos están entrenando 101 los días sábados en la cuestión de artes para poder compartir con los niños música y artes. El doctor Goines nos dice que él le gusta tocar y que su hija tiene la habilidad de cantar. Entonces, dice, es algo muy bonito. Entonces, han contratado con una compañía que se llama Luna Arts, y se trata entonces de dar la educación combinada. Y dice, por ejemplo, hay una persona, una maestra que fue además mi asistente, que trajo títeres para lograr comunicar a los niños y a los estudiantes lo que tienen que aprender, lo cual hace pues mucho más fácil el aprendizaje de los niños. Se conecta todo esto, la música y el arte, a través de las matemáticas y la ingeniería y todo eso, para que no te sea tan aburrido. This is really good, sounds really good. I wish I had been in this time instead of, I've been a student at this time and not before.
So some hard things that we're actually doing, and there's some things coming up over the next couple of actually days. So we've done this training, and that's kind of integrated that piece of it, and that's been something we've kind of put on all year long to kind of support arts. But some of the showcases, because we're at showcase time, this is the time to show what's going on with Lancaster. So just yesterday, we hosted a mini Create Festival. We used to do this big Create Festival outside of LPAC. However, what we've done this year is we've kind of modified that a bit, because we want to make sure that we have all of our arts kind of programs pushed on to one stage at one time. So what we did was we did a mini Create Festival within our gym yesterday. All of our parents were invited to be able to come and see some wonderful art from our schools. All of our schools were asked to participate, to be able to provide whatever visual arts that they may have been able to provide, that the students have been working on all throughout the year. So lots of good, beautiful projects. One of the schools did a Sierra Elementary School did a mask project where they did these wonderful masks for I believe it was like right before Easter. Actually, it's Fat Friday, where they created these really cool masks for the kids made, and it was a social emotional thing, like how you can wear your mask, how sometimes you wear your mask, and in the way you're doing things. So that was a wonderful piece of art. There was other art pieces, art forms that just were just kids being able to express themselves and do all of that really cool thing, those cool things, to be able to really show that this is who I am and this is what I'm about. So what ended up happening was we did the art show yesterday, initial art show, and then what happened is we had our board come in and judge some of the art pieces, and those art pieces are going to end up in the LPAC tonight, or at the LPAC tonight, Lancaster Performing Arts Center tonight. Tonight, and as we speak right now, I've got like 8 schools practicing for a bands. It's a kids on stage type of bands on stage type of activity tonight, in which they're going to showcase all of our performing arts pieces that we've been working on all year long, from all of our schools, from Linda Verde, Sierra, to Sunnydale, to TLA, the Learning Academy, or the Leadership Academy, our Rise program. On all four of our comprehensive middle school sites: New Vista, Amargosa Creek, Endeavor, and Paiute. So there's going to be some wonderful over the next 2 nights. We have rented out the Lancaster Performing Arts Center for our students to perform at the elementary level, and at the advanced. They're beginning and advanced levels at the middle schools.
Is this performance open for all the public?
So there are tickets that you're going to have to get, because you have to have a ticket to get in, because there's a specific footprint that the Lancaster Performing Arts Center is able to have. So you should be able to receive tickets through the school that you're attending. We may be, at this point, I'm pretty sure we're getting close to sold out, but it was one of those things. It's one of those not sold out, but given out, I would say. It's one of those things that we're really excited about over the next couple of days, to really be able to showcase what's going on in terms of arts in Lancaster School District right now.
Very good. Bueno, pues fíjense que se está trabajando muchísimo en promover esto de las artes y la música y bueno, se hizo un festival este, creativo en pequeño donde todos los estudiantes presentaron los trabajos en los que han estado, de lo que han estado haciendo, ¿no? Y se trata de artes visuales y bueno, ahora, el día de hoy van a tener la presentación de todos estos de estas obras que se produjeron y se produjo en conjunto, los maestros produjeron no los maestros, sino los estudiantes, bajo la supervisión de estos maestros de arte, empezaron a fabricar máscaras y hicieron un trabajo excelente, dice, no solamente esos estudiantes, pero hay muchos otros estudiantes trabajando también en cuestiones de música, en cuestiones de arte, y los van a presentar en el Lancaster Performance Art, el lugar donde se hacen los conciertos. Van a estar ahí por, how many days are they going to be there?
Two days, today and tomorrow. And
Hoy
it goes
y
tonight
mañana.
goes from I believe 6 to 7. Tomorrow goes from like 6 to 8. Hold on really quick. I think it's
I thought that was going to be a little bit longer.
well, so what we had to do is because we split it into two nights because people only have such this is about the attention span of our community sometimes. So
No,
so,
no, and you know it's a working day also,
yeah.
so no, it's not so easy.
We don't want parents to be in a situation where they feel so dragged in that they feel terrible about things. But so today they're going to be going from 6 o'clock to 7:30. I'm sorry, to 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And then tomorrow is going to be starting at 5:30, and it's going to go till 8:30.
Okay.
So 5:30 to 8:30. So it's like a 2-hour thing.
Bueno.
We're so excited about it though because our our board's is behind it. They're excited about it. Our superintendent's super excited about it. It's one of those things that we love doing because it's an ability for us to showcase the other side of school and what school's supposed to be. It's kind of like a well-rounded education is what we're trying to get kids to be able to be a part of.
And the possibility to have direct contact with the board members from the students and parents is really good, I think. No?
Our board is amazing about being out there with our families. We've got and out there with our kids too. I mean, our board like any time. So I'm at school sites all day long, every day, 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, sometimes after school. Sometimes a lot of the time meeting with teachers or kids and working with kids. When I'm out there, it's like it's not rare for me to run into Miss Mann or Dwayne Wynn or Mr. Wynn or Mr. Giles. Just being out there with the kids. They spend time with the kids. Mr. TP, as often as they can, they're out there with the kids.
Well, okay. Miren, estamos hablando de el evento que van a tener el día de hoy. Se va a llevar a cabo de 6 a 7 y los miembros de la mesa directiva van a estar participando para otorgar reconocimientos. Y luego el día de mañana va a empezar de 5:30 a las 8:30 de la tarde, donde esto es en el Visual Arts de Lancaster y van a estar participando estudiantes de todas las escuelas. Los boletos ya casi están agotados, pero se dieron donaciones a los padres para que pudieran entrar a observar esto. Y estamos hablando de lo importante que es ligar las artes y la música con el aprendizaje, porque hace el aprendizaje mucho más digerible, mucho más fácil de hacer. Maybe, Dr. Goines, would you please start to consider my proposal of starting the school class with dancing?
I'm telling you, man. I've thrown it out. The one guy who I had ready to do it, he ended up moving into a district office position. I was like, dude, man.
Oh.
And he turns like I'll tell you, I used to do stuff like that every once in a while. I was kind of, and I was.
You can start. You can start that now again. Take 15 minutes of your time. Go to one school. Okay, let's do.
Yeah, well, you don't get to take over a school, and you're in a district office position to be able to do those kinds of things. There are some other things I did want to talk about real quick. We do have some community events coming up, and I wanted to make sure that we highlighted some of those. First of all, that everybody, we are running, I think the next one is April 12th. It might not be April 12th. It might be later on. That I think it's like maybe later in April that we're running we've been running food distribution center out of Parkview Middle School. The flyers are provided for that on a pretty consistent basis. I think the next one is going to be, actually, I'm not exactly sure when it is. It's probably going to be later in April. If we're going to be doing it next, but that's one of the benefits. We've been doing that for the last couple. Another piece that we've got coming in, Bright Life Kids. We've been able to support students, and the state of California is able to support students with basically free mental health for
Oh,
kids
very
from 0
good.
to 12. It's 100%, no insurance required. It's paid for by the state of California. It helps our kids out, gives them an opportunity to be able to get all the emotional things that may have going out into the situation out of there. So those are two main things that we've got. And there's some other things, but I'll let you translate that.
Bueno, uno de los eventos también muy importantes que tenemos durante el mes de abril es la distribución de comida que se ha estado haciendo permanentemente y que se va a continuar. Y luego otra muy importante que a través del Estado se va a otorgar salud mental, acceso a salud mental gratuito, sin que necesidad que tengas seguro ni nada por el estilo. La salud mental es importantísima porque después de COVID muchos se vieron afectados. The mental health after COVID is like exploded, no? The need for support in mental health.
That is a huge need right now. I mean, the one thing that's keeping, I feel that with Lancaster that keeps us in a funky position sometimes is behavior. I think that's, I get phone calls from parents on a constant, like, I get phone calls from parents after they've gone to the schools if it gets bad enough, where they're acting like these kids are acting crazy and this is happening and it's not great. And it's like sometimes when that happens, it's like, well, you have to figure out what's causing the behavior of the student who's offending the situation.
Like how old are those kids, more or less in
say
old? Like
I mean,
age.
and that's the thing. Oh, some of it is natural growing up behavior.
Like teenagers?
No, some of them aren't teenagers. Some of them are like 4 or 5 years old. That's some of it's like, small stuff. Other things are more concerning. And when it gets to concerning, that's when it gets a little more concerning. That's when I'm usually involved. But a lot of those pieces are, some of it's educating parents that this is kind of what kids do, the beginning parts of it. And we have to work with parents more before we can really jump on the kids. So we have to build those pieces up. So there is that. That we have available that's available. And then on top of that, on the behavioral supports, we've really been enhancing our behavioral supports at the school site to be able to support not just the positive behavior, but also some of the consequences that we know need to be happening in order to be able to really correct behaviors, I guess, that are maladaptive, that are not good.
Bueno, le estaba yo preguntando acerca de la salud mental, que de qué edad son los niños que tienen problemas de salud mental o que están teniendo problemas de comportamiento y cómo los están manejando. Entonces dice, primero trabajamos con los padres para tratar de investigar exactamente cuáles, y si solamente cuando son casos que requieren más atención es cuando llegan a mi nivel. Pero dice, de todos modos, nosotros lo que hacemos es darles orientación a los padres y luego analizamos los casos y los niños que requieran atención médica, pues los podemos referir. Pero es importante que sepan que hay apoyo para los muchachos que tienen problemas de comportamiento y que se les puede ayudar fácilmente.
So the last thing, or last three things I was going to talk about is we do have a couple of events coming up over the next couple of weekends. Nancy Corey Elementary School is going to be hosted, but this is more for Nancy Corey students. But Nancy Corey is having a Read Across America event on Saturday at 10 a.m., between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Nancy Corey is located over there. The main cross streets are going to be, I believe, 30th Street West and Avenue L, sorry.
Avenue L or
Okay, it's by the college.
By
the
Avenue
college.
K.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the main cross streets for Nancy Corey, but that's gonna be an amazing event. We've got some things going on at that school. Another piece that's gonna be popping up that's gonna be happening the very next weekend is a spring literacy event. Again, kind of the Read Across America type of a thing. But we're also hosting some arts pieces in that, so the parents can do like a make and take. For the arts piece and be able to focus on that. And that's going to be going from Saturday, 4/20, April 20th, from 10 a.m.
Saturday what?
Saturday, April 20th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'll be there at Parkview. That's at 44327
44327
Fig Avenue
okay.
in Lancaster. And the last thing is that we want parents to make sure that they understand that they are empowered to be able to support their students as much as possible. Our family ambassadors are helping our training parents currently have classes going right now called Calm and Kind workshops that we've gotten through the Family Leadership Institute. We're working through those with our parents right now. So that's the last piece.
What kind of training is it?
So this is more of a social emotional training and
Okay.
getting parents to be able to. So here's the thing, what and I experience this every once in a while. My kids frustrate. You sit down, your kids frustrate you. I know kids frustrate, right? Sometimes. So it's like your kids frustrate you, and the first thing you do is you go from 0 to 100 like that. So this is like that idea of like, let's not get to 100. Let's stop at like 10 before we go crazy, before we go nuts on our kids. So it's like the idea of being able to kind of regulate your own social emotional before you are
exploding.
Yeah, exploding.
Oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
Bueno, pues estamos hablando de varios eventos que van a tener en la escuela Nancy Core, un evento de lectura, y luego ese va a ser el sábado siguiente de 10. This Nancy Core is this Saturday.
That's this Saturday.
De 10 a 1 de la tarde, y está ubicado en la calle 30 West y la avenida K. And this is only for parents.
Yeah, but you know what? I believe it is open to some. I mean, we're promoting it primarily through Nancy Corey, but I think it is like if we're not. I don't think anybody's going to get turned away.
Okay, aunque no pertenezca a esa escuela y se lo estamos promoviendo para esa escuela, pero si está interesado en ir, adelante. Bueno, tenemos también otro que es uno de primavera, donde se enseña a leer, que es parte de este esfuerzo de América Lee, de incentivar a los americanos a que lean, y se va a llevar a cabo el día sábado, abril 20, de 10 a 2 de la tarde. Esto está ubicado en Parkview, que está en el 44327 de la Fig Avenue. And the last event is...
So that's ongoing. So we would ask parents, if you're a parent in Lancaster, call your school, ask for your family ambassador, and talk to them about when the next Calm and Kind trainings are coming up.
Okay. Aquí se trata de que los padres trabajen con los embajadores para que les den información acerca de todos los entrenamientos. Los embajadores son padres que han sido contratados para trabajar directamente con todos ustedes. Así es que it was a lot of information. I hope that you can come more frequently.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine. Well, it was a pleasure to see you. Y hasta la vista. Nos vemos, amigos. Bye bye. Algunas personas